If you look at the odds of who's most likely to win Coach of the Year, Frank Reich is currently number 8, which I just think is unfair. I do understand it because typically when a coach is doing something that you've seen them do before, they don't really get Coach of the Year considerations. So I think that's what a lot of it is. But I still think he's doing a great job with Phillip Rivers and this offense, and he deserves a lot of credit. When Indianapolis chose Phillip Rivers, my first reaction was I didn't love it, but the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I liked it, because one of the things that Rivers did really well his last year with the Chargers was run play action and, throw the ball on play action, and he can do that very well in this Colts offense that loves play action. Like, take a look at this one. It's going to be a zone coverage play that Indianapolis is in, so, zone coverage is when play action works the best. It's not my favorite type of play action. It's going to be T.Y. Hilton running a deep curl route. There's some better ways to run play action, I think, but this one still can absolutely work, and you're going to see how well this play action does work. Rivers is going to fake a handoff, and you look over the middle of the field, everyone on Houston is fooled on this play, and you can say, well, it's just the Houston Texans, but still, this is an NFL team, and you're completely fooling them to the point that there is easily going to be a throwing window for Rivers to try and hit Hilton. Rivers is going to be able to make this play, and you know what? That's not a very difficult play, and good for Rivers for making the throw. But I think that's what I really like about when I see Frank Reich and how he coaches the Colts team. Is what kind of concerns me about Rivers is he's always been a gunslinger. He always tries to fit the ball through tight windows, and sometimes it doesn't work out for him. Sometimes it does. But in this Colts offense, there is so much less of those opportunities where he feels like he has to fit it through a tight window because the windows are just bigger in this offense. This one's another great example. It's again going to be zone coverage, and what you see on the screen makes it seem like it's play action, and it kind of is. This is the patented RPO, right? This is what you saw him and Doug Peterson do a lot in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz and then Nick Foles, and it helped them win a Super Bowl. And I love these types of plays where if you're running an RPO with Phillip Rivers, obviously Rivers isn't going to run with the football. Usually there's those three options. It's a handoff, the quarterback runs, or throws. In this situation, you usually just get rid of that option. You don't worry about the quarterback running. You just either hand the ball off or throw it. So, a Frank Reich RPO, very different than a Greg Roman RPO, Greg Roman being the offensive coordinator for Baltimore. But yeah, watch how this works. Rivers takes a snap, and now he has to make his decision. Does he hand the ball off, or does he throw it and hit the Indianapolis player in that yellow circle? That's all he's looking at. If you look in the black circle there, you see that both Houston players who were over the middle of the field have definitely moved further towards Rivers' right as they're trying to stop a run right here. So this now means that Rivers should pull the ball back and make a throw. And while you do see that there is another Houston player who could potentially run over and knock this ball away, the problem with that for Houston is they're currently in zone coverage. So he's expecting himself to have help to the middle of the field. So he's not going to be trying to protect that as much, meaning this play is probably going to work if Rivers pulls the ball back. Rivers makes the right read, pulls it back, makes a throw. They are able to get a decent gain. They get a first down on it. You'll take that. It's nothing crazy. And that's maybe the problem with RPOs sometimes is that you can't really get a lot of explosives that way, but you can consistently pick up 7 yards or so. So the fact that it's a decent part of his offense while not being like a massive part of his offense, I think is smart. Throw some in there. You don't have to go crazy with it, but certainly throw some in there. Because not only does it help in you actually getting those yards, but then when you run the ball, it can get people out of position and you can get more yards running the ball because the opposing team is still making sure they protect the potential passing play. And Rivers can make some smart reads on his own and smart plays on his own. Like on this one, it's going to be zone coverage once again. They have their receiver to Rivers' right, who's running a route over the middle, and then you're going to simply just send your halfback to the flat. And so this, just look at it on paper, right? So there's going to be 4 Houston players who are in charge of covering the middle area of the field. There's 2 of them to Rivers' right. So one should take over the middle of the field, and the other should take over the flat where the halfback is running to, so that way they can take care of both of them. But watch what happens when Rivers takes the snap. Look at how he looks up a little bit towards a different receiver. He's not throwing it there. He doesn't care about that route. He has no interest in throwing it there because it's about to be stopped right there. It'll gain like 3 yards or so. That's not really something he's too interested in. But Rivers is purposely looking at a route that he knows he's not going to throw to right away. It's really just a check down route, because now the Houston player who's in charge of covering sort of the middle area of the field is now going to be running further to Rivers' left, meaning that then there could be a window for Rivers to throw to the Indianapolis player in the blue circle. As you see, Rivers is able to make this throw, and there's a pretty big window, and that's all just from him looking off. So that's what Rivers kind of brings to the table on his own, is he is a veteran player who can make those good reads. He is a gunslinger, but that's not because he's a dumb guy. He just maybe trusts his arm more than he should, which I guess you could consider dumb. But, he makes these reads very well. Usually when he throws an interception, it's not because he didn't see a guy. It's just because he thought he could make a throw that he probably shouldn't have tried to make. I like this play. It's going to be zone coverage that Houston is in, but it's interesting about how Indianapolis is going to attack this, because it is going to be another play-action play. So what are they doing this time? Well, it'll be look like something like this. A Houston player is going to blitz here, and for Indianapolis, they have their tight end, Mo Alley-Cox. He's going to step aside, and he's going to basically fake as though he's trying to block him, but then not, and just run a couple steps out and take a screen pass. Very simple. But what's unique here is that Rivers, again, fakes the handoff, quickly flips it out. And here's what I love about this, because look at all of the space that's going to be right in front of Mo Alley-Cox. Why is there a bunch of space there? Well, I think it's actually because this wasn't a cover 3 zone blitz. I think this is a Houston player sort of acting on his own. It's possible it was, but either way, there's no player up in that area because there was a blitz on this one. This could just be a lucky break and it worked out perfectly for Indianapolis, but I don't actually think that's the case. I would be willing to bet that the Indianapolis coaching staff saw that these kind of openings can happen on tape and decided to use it to their advantage and run a play like this, because this isn't your typical play action. But it makes sense. It really does. Rivers flips it out, and they're going to get a significant gain on this one. And it's totally possible that I'm giving them credit for just being lucky, but I don't think that's the case. I think this was actually intentional. I think it's a good game, good call by Frank Reich. And I feel like there's a lot of moments like this where it seems like they always just seem to have the perfect play call. Like this next one's a great example of that. It's going to be man coverage, and they have a little mesh concept, so, two players cross over each other. It kind of creates this natural pick over the middle of the field. You can have T.Y. Hilton get open, and this is really good against man coverage. Houston doesn't run a lot of man coverage, but they will occasionally, and it seems like that's just one of those things where I feel like every time I see Indianapolis then go up against man coverage, they go from having these zone coverage beaters to having man coverage beaters. And to me, I don't think it's because they could have a crystal ball. I think they probably just tell Rivers 2 different plays each game. Where like in this one, for example, typically Houston likes to play a lot of zone coverage. So they probably just tell Rivers, hey, if you see something, just check out, run to a different play, have something that's better against man. Go ahead and do that. Again, it's possible they just get lucky, but I don't think that's the case. Rivers takes the snap, and as you see, T.Y. Hilton is wide open here. This play works out very well. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is just Rivers has plenty of time. And, that's another thing that Reich has pretty much always had since he's been an offensive coordinator or better, is a good offensive line. And so that's another thing, too, is, it makes things a lot easier when you have a line that can block, and they were certainly able to block incredibly well in this game. Again, against Houston, but still. Rivers makes this throw. Hilton makes the grab. They get a touchdown. Pretty simple, but yeah, that's really what it comes down to. It just seems like far more often than not, they have the simple but effective play that's getting called. And that's really good for Indianapolis, and it's a huge reason why they're currently in a playoff spot. Next week, they play the Raiders. It's this Sunday at 4 o'clock. I'm super pumped for that game. It should be awesome. I think both teams are really good. Both teams desperate, fighting for that playoff spot. The loser might not get it. The winner probably will. Indianapolis, they still have Houston again, and they have Jacksonville. They could easily end up a 10 or 11 win team, and that probably gets you in. They also play Pittsburgh, but they're beatable as well. So, this is really, Frank Reich is incredible. He deserves a lot of credit. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.